This was a family tradition, where I have memories of going to the fields with my grandpa when I was maybe 5 years old up in the mountains in Chiapas and planting with them. It was a whole celebration that came with a blessing, it came with a party, it came with the whole family. From the little babies to the older ones, everyone had a job. So growing a milpa, it's a privilege. This is a sustainable planting system that comes from hundreds or thousands of years of indigenous knowledge.
We are thrilled to be partnering this year with Wasatch Community Gardens on a virtual version of their Urban Garden and Farm Tour. In this special series of videos, we'll see some of the many creative, experimental, and downright beautiful urban gardens and farms in the Salt Lake City community. While this tour is typically an in-person event, we've partnered with Wasatch Community Gardens to bring it to you virtually this year. Today, with Wasatch Community Gardens Community Education Director Mary Beth Janrick, we're visiting with Anna Martinez and Vicki Lowe to learn about the heritage and cultural significance of La Milpa and Three Sisters. They'll explain to us the differences and similarities between these two ancient agricultural methods.
So the Three Sisters are corn, beans, and squash that are grown together in one bed. They're kind of helping each other. By having the three, you basically have your meal here.
We are here this morning at the Grateful Tomato Garden with Anna Martinez, our school garden program manager for Wasatch Community Gardens. So why don't you start by telling us what the Sabores de Mi Patria partnership is all about?
So we started Sabores de Mi Patria last year, 2019, to bring some cultural appreciation to the Three Sisters and Milpa, and it was in collaboration with Artes de Mexico in Utah. Wasatch Community Gardens are the experts in growing, and then Artes de Mexico in Utah came in to provide the educational aspect of Milpa and the Three Sisters.
So I collaborate with Artes de Mexico as a teacher, an educator, and an artist. I help them build curriculum, and I'm also from Maya descent. So for this project, they really wanted it to be authentic. So I was able to bring my family into the garden so they could share their ancestral knowledge with the rest of the community.
So Anna mentioned La Milpa and also Three Sisters. Are those the same thing?
So in the United States, there's this concept of the Three Sisters, right? Where you plant the beans, the corn, and the squash together or closer together. In Mexico or Mesoamerica, La Milpa, it's similar in a way that we still plant those three crops together, but we also incorporate more plants into this planting system.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history and significance of La Milpa?
Yes. So this is where our cultural legacy and our cultural memory comes into place. For us, La Milpa is more than just a crop. We indigenous people, Maya people, were born from corn. So it is our job to take care of corn because it takes care of us. So La Milpa is this relationship between all the plants that bring really nutritious meals to our families. This is a companionship system because they help each other grow. You can see how the corn is helping the beans grow, so you don't need another structure. They just climb up on the corn, the beans climb on the corn, the beans feed from the nitrogen, and the squash provides that, shelter and humidity. The main difference between Las Tres Hermanas, the Three Sisters, and La Milpa is that with La Milpa, we incorporate other sisters. For La Milpa, we can also add quelites. You can find a variety of quelites, amaranth, amaranto, and also the chili peppers, which are planted on the corners or around the milpa, and that protects them from pests. It repels insects that might damage your plants. After 17 years of being in the United States, I finally got a chance to make some quesadillas, flor de calabaza quesadillas, and soup with my kids because thanks to this partnership and the space that we have, we're able to harvest their own. And I taught my children how to tell the difference between the two. And we had a wonderful meal, and this is an example of those cultural memories and that cultural heritage that thanks to this garden we bring into our homes. So it's a special memory. I'm really glad I got the chance to experience this with my kids.
And you're trying to teach your children that importance as well. And it's challenging. I mean, you didn't have the space. You weren't able to teach your children right away. And now you're able to.
When you're able to go with your family, plant the seeds, take care of them, and then harvest them, and then cook them, it has a whole different meaning. You can have 3 or 4 different recipes to make with these flowers. And then we just take really good care of them, and we make sure that we finish the whole meal because we know how hard it was to harvest these flowers.
Yeah, I remember at one of our workshops, your mom had mentioned you only take what you're going to eat.
Yes. And this is a big difference. Like with La Milpa, we produce what we're gonna eat, right? That's the difference between just planting massive amounts of corn. You take away all the nutrients from the land and you just overproduce. And what happens to that food? 60% of that food might end up in the garbage. Having a milpa helps you be more conscious of what you're harvesting so nothing goes to waste. I mean, it's important to be able to be sustainable and plant our gardens, but we also need to acknowledge that this is ancestral indigenous knowledge. Indigenous people have suffered from colonization for the last 500 years. They have suffered discrimination, and there's a lot of their history that is not taught in schools, that we don't know about, and they're neglected in many ways. So for us to just take this knowledge and make it into a trend is not right. So if you're gonna try to do this at home, learn the history, learn about indigenous peoples and do something for them. Do something to improve the quality of their lives and teach your children about how important this is.
The partnership really works well because you're teaching us that cultural significance of growing this appropriately, and for us not just growing it because it's trendy, but because we want to learn.
And another wonderful thing is that indigenous people who are here in Utah are able to participate and share that knowledge. We can be labeled as Mexicans, immigrants, Latinos, Hispanos, whatever you want, but within that, we have a lot of diversity. We have a lot of indigenous diversity. We have Maya people, we have Aztecs, so for us to be able to be part of this, it's like it gives us back part of our identity, and you can see us as something unique and our knowledge as something valuable.
And that's why it was important for us to make sure that the first thing families notice was it's in Spanish, so that we can bring them into a safe space where they can learn and be themselves.
And be the focus. I saw my mom wearing her indigenous clothing, teaching children. She's been here for years, and this is the first time that she was actually recognized as something important.
Thank you so much for joining us on our tour of the Sabores de mi Patria plot at the Grateful Tomato Garden as we learned together about La Milpa and the Three Sisters. We hope that this tour has inspired you to learn more about this traditional way of growing food. Follow Wasatch Community Gardens on social media for tips, tricks, and webinars about this and other forms of organic vegetable gardening.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We also have a blog at pbsutah.org/moderngardener, where you can find out much more information about these ancient agricultural methods. For Modern Gardener, I am Lizzie Brousseau.